Hi, welcome back. And I am going to be talking about today. I can't. So, in my series of Janice Talks, I'm going to be sharing with about my life story and my experiences, and hoping that will help other people. So, today I wanted to talk about I can't. Well, other people thought I couldn't. Um, so, from a very young, early age, it was quite evident that I was different. And I suppose that's quite evident today, that I am different. And I'm very proud of being different. So, from a very young age, I was unable to read and write. I couldn't keep up with everybody else in my class. And to my friends from when I was younger, I'm sure you all remember me always not completing any homework or not being able to do any spelling tests. I always was singled out from the teachers and was always taken to one side to have extra lessons on reading. I remember at one point a family member sitting me down and going through my colours with me and saying to me, "But you're 5, 6 years old. Why do you not understand what different colours are? And why can you not say the word and then pick it out what the colour is?" I just couldn't do it. And I remember at one point in my early years in primary school, the teachers bring my mum in, and it was all very serious. I was so scared, and making me do this memory test on a tray with different items. I just didn't understand what was happening. And they would say, "Look at the things that are on the tray. Remember everything that's there. We're going to put a cloth over it now, and then you're going to tell us what's on there." And could I remember? No. So from a very young age, I knew I was different, and it was a bad thing. But actually, now I've come to grow and understand what was happening. It's a good thing. It's just that culture and how people see things in those days, they didn't understand really. And there's nothing to be ashamed of. And I'm living proof of that. And that's why I want to share this story. So I continued on, but I always had passion and drive to just make sure that I did good in life, that I was always friends with everyone, that I always wanted to make sure everyone was okay and help everyone I could. So I carried on through my primary school, middle school, and high school. And high school, I was very well known for not completing any homework. And then it got to the point where the teachers didn't even bother asking me for my homework because they knew I weren't going to give it to them. I just couldn't do it. I used to stay behind at school with my friends, and one of my friends in particular, who is very intelligent, and who got A stars in all her A levels and went on to do amazing things with her degree, her master's, travel the world. I used to stay behind with her and sit there and watch her do our homework. And she used to say to me, "When are you ever going to do any homework?" And I just said, "I've just got no interest in it. I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't know." And then we got to our GCSEs and we got to our mock exams. And art was always my thing. I absolutely adored art, and I excelled in art. And that was the only GCSE I left school with. But interestingly enough, it was only after our mock exams that one of my teachers, so what am I now, 15, going into 16, said to me, "Janice, I think you may be dyslexic." And I said, "Pardon? What do you mean?" I didn't even know about dyslexia. I didn't know what it was. And she said, "I think you might be dyslexic because you are intelligent. You do know things. You just watch and you listen and you absorb, but you just can't get it out and you can't. I talk it, but I can't write it and I can't express it the same way." And actually, it made me feel like, oh my God. So I am normal. I am okay. It's just that I've got an issue that I need help with. I was really excited and I was like, "Brilliant. So what are we going to do about it then?" And she went, "There's nothing we can do now because the waiting list to be tested is at least 3 years." And I was like, "But I've got to sit my exam soon." And she was like, "Well, there's nothing we can do about it. I suggest that once you finish your exams, you go on and get tested and then you can then, get the help required." Oh, I felt absolutely awful. I went through my GCSEs. I passed my art GCSE. I failed everything else. And I thought, okay, I'll stay on at the school in the sixth form and retake my GCSEs, hoping the fact that, okay, we need to put in an application for me to be tested so I can get the help that I need. Well, surprise, surprise, that never happened. I retook 4 GCSEs and I only passed one, which was sociology. So I left school at 17 with 2 GCSEs out of a lot, 12, and retook 4. So after that, I went into, I know I wanted to be a nurse. So the whole family are nurses. And I look up to all the female women in my life, in my family. And I want to be a nurse. That's all I know. That's in my soul. And that's what I want to do. I want to be a successful nurse. And all I was ever told is, you can't do that, Janice. You can't be what you want to be. You can't grow and become a successful nurse because you haven't put the work in. You don't know how to spell properly. You don't know how to express yourself in words. So therefore, how on earth are you going to look after patients and pass your exams? We know you can do it. If it was a practical, you'll be fine. But because you can't do the exams, you can't do it. That's when I found my new passion. The more people told me I can't do something, the more I was damn well going to do it. So I decided I'm going to make sure I do this. I went and I was working in Safeways back in those days as a cashier. And I excelled, and I realised actually I do better in a work environment. I had, things that we had to do to make sure we got our bonuses. I made sure I worked hard as hell, but I partied like hell too. I was at college, I was doing my BTEC National in Health and Social Care, and I absolutely loved it. And then I realised, because it was more practical as well as theory, and I was just excelling in it. So I knew this is definitely what I want to do. I want to do health and social care. The Safeways cashier work is just keeping me going. And it actually built and grew my understanding of how to work, the work environment, how to respect your colleagues, work as a team, and you've got your managers. And that was brilliant. As soon as I turned 18 and I was allowed to become a healthcare assistant, which was nursing auxiliary back in those days, I was so happy. And I got my first job being a healthcare assistant, and I started to learn, and I learned fast. And I was determined I was going to do well in this. During that time, I was so blessed to have my daughter, LaShawn, which many of you know. I was a teenage mum. So here we go. I'm a teenage mum back in 1996, and you have that label, being a teen mum. Didn't have any qualifications, not much. Clearly was dyslexic, but had no help. And thinking, God, what am I going to do? I have this child to look after. And I refused to be labelled society's single mum, Black Caribbean, born here, but still not going to do much with it. Hasn't got any qualifications, just going to stay on the dole. Not me, not Janice. So was determined I was going to get on with this. I have a child now. Holding her, I thought, okay, this is it now. I have got to make sure she has a good life, like my mum provided for me as a single mum. And I'm going to show her, no matter what, you will succeed in life. But succeed in whatever you want to succeed in, not whatever society wants you to succeed in. Just be you. So I went back to evening school. I did my English GCSE. Everyone said I was going to fail. You can't do that, Janice. Funny enough, I did do it. I passed with a C. Third attempt. I then decided, right, I'm going to be a nurse. So what do I need to do? I researched it. I decided to get myself a permanent job, part-time, because obviously I had LaShawn. My family helped me so much, and I don't know what I'll do without my family and my mother looking after her. And then they could see something in me when I was working in dermatology outpatients in good old West Middlesex Hospital in Twickenham. And they invested in me. They could see that I had the skills. So therefore, they put me onto the MVQ, which I did. And once I finished my MVQ, they then seconded me to do my degree in nursing. So they sent me off for 3 years, but still paid me and kept my job for me. And when I qualified, I then qualified into a junior nurse's job. My passion was critical care nursing, and I was so content. I had an amazing team that I worked with, and I have met so many different mentors in that role, and they have grown and built me to where I am today. And I always say that I've got to share that experience and be a champion from what they taught me. So all this time now, I've never been diagnosed with dyslexia, but I knew I was dyslexic. So I knew how to work around it, what my strengths were, what my weaknesses were. What my weaknesses were, I had to really work hard on them. And I was obsessed with writing my notes, writing my algorithms, my maths, doing drug calculations. I had to just work harder, and it was okay. I knew I had to work extra harder to get to where I wanted to be. So I became a critical care nurse. I went into coronary care, and then I went into intensive care, and that's where I found my passion. And I stayed there for 4 years as an intensive care nurse, and then went up to sister. And I did do it very fast. And a lot of people at the time were like, "But you can't." I think my first interview, and if you are watching, that lovely sister that I worked with, you know who you are. In the interview, said to me, "Where do you see yourself?" This is my first interview as a junior nurse. "Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?" And I said, "I see myself as a senior sister, a band 7, in 5 years' time." And they all burst out laughing. She burst out laughing a lot. And she said to me, "You can't do that. None of us sitting here got to our position in 5 years, Janice. You can't do that." And that's another time when I learned, okay, I can't do it. Watch this space. And guess what? I got there in 4 years. Not only in speciality of ICU nursing, I then went into infection control nursing, which I'm still in now. And I went to the top of the grades that I could do, and I'm at the highest level now. I have fought and fought to show everyone, don't tell me I can't do something. I can. And my passion and my fire will always live in me for me to do well. But only if I want to do well in it. So yeah, along the way, I felt my passion's always been that I share my knowledge with everyone, that I mentor people, I teach people. And I always say to people, follow your dreams and follow your passion. Don't ever say that you can't do something. If you really want to do it, find out how you're going to do it. If you really want to get to the top, start acting like you're at the top. When you start acting it and you start working it and you start thinking and change your mindset, you will do it. You have to do it. But if you don't really want it, then you won't. During my period of that time, it's only when I became a senior sister that I actually then, my manager noticed, and she said to me, "Janice, I think you're dyslexic." And I said, "Funny that, I am. But I've never been tested." And she said, "Right, let's get you tested." She paid for my testing for me. I was then diagnosed, and I got the extra help that I needed. But before that, I mean, I'd gone 10 years through my MVQ, through my diploma, through my degree. I was on my master's when I was finally diagnosed with dyslexia. And I'm very proud to be dyslexic, and I'm always passionate about dyslexic, and I want to be able to talk about being dyslexic more and how that can help other people. And that's why I wanted to share my story. The most important thing is that I don't want anyone to think just because someone tells you can't do something and you want to be successful, don't feel that you can't do it. You can do it. It's about your mindset, it's about the passion, and it's about having that understanding of how are you going to do this, and how can you use the things around you and the tools around you to get there. You have to put the work in, but you've got to have that drive as well. And that's what I've always had. And if that can help any person that's watching this today, then I'm 110,000% happy that that's helping. I will share more if you need me to share more about my journey in terms of, I can't, but I have anyway, or my dyslexia, or the challenges of life of being a single mum. And my daughter now is amazing. She's nearly 27, she's 26 now, LaShawn. And I have an amazing, beautiful granddaughter, Willow, who's nearly 2 years old. And I'm so, so proud of them. And we've got through it and we've come through it together. And that was the other thing as well. People said to me, "You'll never get married, Janice. You'll never settle down with the right bloke." And now I've got Richard, and he's been absolutely amazing. And now we're married, and it means everything to me. And I've done it. I've got here, and this is my next chapter now. People always say to me, "You can't be a coach. You will never be able to go online and tell your story, or to share that with anybody." And here I am. I can do it, and I will do it. Take care and let me know if you need me to share anything with you. All right. Make sure you hit like below. Bye.